Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining me to hear the latest COVID-19 update. We continue to see significantly smaller daily new cases since the new year. Last week, our case rate was reduced to 20.5 per 100,000 cases, according to the state report. This is a 50% decrease from the previous week, and our rate had been over 50 per 100,000 over the holidays. In addition, our positivity rate is now 2.31. It had been above 5% for the majority of the holiday season. This really is encouraging news, but I ask that all residents continue to be vigilant, make good decisions, and continue to follow the guidelines. Access to vaccines has been a major news topic, and progress in dispensing is slowly improving. Last Friday, the state opened a 211 hotline for residents 75 years and older to assist in signing up for the vaccine. There are over 500 workers to assist in fielding calls representing over 100 languages. This is in addition to the online portal available at mass.gov. Our Council on Aging now has an interim staff person who is also available to help with signing up for the vaccine. We are trying to respond quickly to what has become a frustrating process in navigating the state's vaccination appointment process. The state is very much aware that the system is difficult and that there is a scarce number of slots. However, as the number of vaccines increases over the next several weeks and months, it will become more available. I understand this does not help our seniors at this very moment. The state has advised that there are 7 mass sites that are opened, the closest to us being the DoubleTree Hilton Hotel in Danvers, with 2 or more sites to be added shortly. There will also be more appointments coming to the pharmacies like Walgreens, CVS, as well as Convenient MD, and to grocery store chains like Stop and Shop. As these area sites are confirmed and operational, we will provide you with additional information. At the local level, Beth Israel Lahey Health, or Anna Jakes Hospital, is part of their network, will be operating a vaccination center here in Newburyport at our Senior Community Center, 331 High Street, beginning on February 15th. The center will operate through mid-April, but will begin with a shorter schedule due to the limited vaccine availability. The goal is to operate the center Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 7 and ultimately provide 500 vaccines per day. This is a Beth Israel Lahey Health operation. The City of Newburyport is hosting and providing space for this vaccination center at the Senior Community Center because it is a local site and our residents and seniors are familiar. Beth Israel Lahey Health, including Anna Jakes Hospital, serves over 100,000 patients in the region. Healthcare providers who are part of this healthcare system will be contacting their patients with information on how to make an appointment for the vaccine at the Senior Community Center or at other Beth Israel Lahey Health sites. All appointments for the clinics will be scheduled through their network. There will be no walk-in appointments. For now, patients in their system who are identified in Phase 2 at age 75 plus, followed by age 65 plus, that are next in priority, will be contacted on how to register for the vaccine. Please note the health network is working on how much supply they will receive initially to determine how many people they will be able to provide the vaccine for. We very much want to connect with you and try to help you in your efforts to get a vaccine appointment as soon as possible. We are committed to doing everything we can to help you navigate this and get our residents vaccinated. Our health department continues to work with our neighboring communities to develop additional regional sites. The second dose for first responders is scheduled at the Page School in West Newbury, and all who received their first shot should have received an email to register. This regional team is also working on additional clinics, but it is taking time as we await distribution of the vaccine. Thank you all for your patience and cooperation. I'm pleased to announce, and working with Superintendent John Gallagher and District Nurse Leader Kathy Riccio, we have partnered with Cataldo Ambulance in hopes of providing COVID-19 vaccinations for the Newburyport Public Schools faculty and staff. Again, this is dependent on access to the vaccine. If all goes well, vaccinations will occur at the end of February, with the second dose at the end of March. As we know, study after study makes clear that our children need to be in school, in person and in their classrooms, to support their educational and emotional development. Shifting to more in-person learning is a challenge our school department is continuing to address, and in the meantime, we clearly understand the challenges families have faced with remote and hybrid learning. Obtaining vaccines for the teachers and staff is a significant step in the right direction. We are also working with the state on developing a weekly COVID-19 pool testing for students. The goal is to get as many students as possible back in the classroom as soon as possible. Please know this is a priority for all, and further discussions and options for increasing in-person learning is ongoing. It will be part of our school committee agenda at our next meeting on February 23rd. Finally, local governments across the country are collaborating to declare the first Monday in March as COVID Memorial Day. To date, 32 Newburyport residents have died from complications from the virus. I have submitted to the City Council a resolution for Newburyport to join in declaring COVID Memorial Day. They will review and should vote on the resolution on February 22nd at their City Council meeting and in advance of the first COVID Memorial Day on March 1st. I anticipate our flags will be at half-staff, and I will be reaching out to area churches to have the bells toll 32 times to honor all those we have lost to this virus and the families and survivors who continue to suffer. We are in much better shape economically than we were last spring, but continue to be concerned about the fallout due to business closures. We know many businesses are struggling and continue to work on finding resources and funds to help our businesses recover. We received a technical assistance grant for downtown revitalization and recovery strategies from the state. We also received a Mass DOT Shared Streets grant of $286,000 that will help continue and expand the highly successful parklet and outdoor dining program launched last summer. We will use the grant to design and install parklets for outdoor dining downtown that can be reused in future years. In addition, the grant will also fund pedestrian improvements at the State Street and Pleasant Street intersection to improve the crossing to make it safer and more accessible. We plan on beginning this work in mid-March, weather permitting, and we'll be working with our downtown restaurants. And just a reminder, we still have over $150,000 remaining to support small businesses affected by the pandemic. The funds are part of a joint program with the City of Amesbury, funded through the Department of Housing and Community Development. Eligible small businesses of 5 or fewer employees can still apply to receive up to $10,000 in grant funding, which can be used for operating expenses such as payroll or rent or mortgage payments, or hiring a consultant to provide legal, accounting, marketing, and/or web development services. Businesses are strongly encouraged to check out our website for details. I would like to take this moment to thank our DPS staff for their hard work on the snowstorms we experienced over the past 2 weeks. We measured in at 17 inches of heavy, wet snow with an incredible amount of manpower and equipment necessary to clear our roadways over a 28-hour period on February 1st. And again, not as much snow, but required tremendous amount of work by our DPS this past week. We are also aware of the effects of such large storms on the ability for some residents to shovel and clean their sidewalks in order to comply with the city's municipal code regarding snow and ice removal. But please remember during these events not to plow or throw snow into our roadways. Snow should be removed from all sidewalks within 6 hours of snow stopping during the daytime, and during the night, residents have until noon to clear the sidewalks bordering the property they occupy. We recognize that some people cannot physically clear the snow and ice on their own. Please know that the Council on Aging and our youth services are working together to provide assistance to snow clearing, either for a small fee or on a volunteer basis. The recent storm also took an enormous toll on our residents at Reservation Terrace, the broader neighborhood of Plum Island. In spite of having 150 super sacks filled with sand and installed by Mass DOT, the area was still very much compromised by a very strong nor'easter. I continue to work very closely with Lieutenant Governor Polito and state agencies for an interim protection for homes and our water and sewer infrastructure. We are also working closely with the Army Corps of Engineers on the upcoming Merrimack River dredging project and placing the dredged sand on Plum Island to provide a more long-term protection with a new dune and new berm. As a coastal community, we have seen the impact of storm surge and climate change. It is critical we work collectively as a community to address these ongoing challenges. I am happy to report that the Newburyport Resiliency Committee has developed a climate resiliency plan for the city of Newburyport. The plan will be presented to the public at a meeting next week on Thursday, February 18th at 7 p.m. A link to connect to this meeting, information about the Resiliency Committee, and a full copy of the plan can be found on the city website under Public Meetings Calendar and Resiliency Committee pages. I am very grateful to members of the Resiliency Committee under the chairmanship of David Chatfield and former chair Michael Morris, who worked diligently for several years with members of our staff and volunteers from our community to develop this plan. The new Climate Resiliency Plan, the first developed specifically for the city of Newburyport, addresses a now global planning and sustainability issues surrounding climate change for our seaside community, a portion of which is located on a barrier beach and much of which has frontage on a tidally influenced Merrimack River. Its chapters address Newburyport-specific climate change hazards and vulnerabilities and recommends adaptation strategies to ensure that Newburyport remains a resilient community in the face of global warming, sea level rise, and climate change implications. These strategies include infrastructure installations and improvements, regulatory and administrative approaches, community communications and education, and mitigation through carbon footprint reductions. I encourage all to join this meeting. February is Black History Month, providing a time to reflect upon the accomplishments of Black Americans and acknowledges the central role African Americans have played in the history of the United States. It is fitting that our high school, with support of the Newburyport Education Foundation and the Literary Festival, organized a community read. The chosen text, Just Mercy, by Brian Stevenson, is a powerful and graphic novel depicting the racism, corruption, and cruelty that has pervaded the American court system and led to the systematic abuse of marginalized communities. Additionally, our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Alliance has been meeting twice a month since December. It is a great group of residents with broad community representation who are committed to making Newburyport a more inclusive community. The group is working on a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And the Alliance is also working with Michael Eatman, who has been working on similar issues within our school district. The Alliance is working to complete this analysis, develop a community survey, participate in additional trainings, finalize goals and an action plan, and then engage our community later in 2021. In closing, I know we are all anxious for greater access to vaccines, and I am confident we will see additional sites and more vaccine in the coming months. There's much to be hopeful for as we see the number of cases decreasing in our city and our state. But we must continue to listen to medical experts warning us that the virus is still very much all around us. So please remain vigilant. Thank you again for your support and compliance. We will continue to move forward together. I'm wishing all of you a happy Valentine's Day and encourage you to get your special dinner from one of our local restaurants. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.